everyone, this is Dr. Nicola Ducharme here, the Naturopathic Mama. I just want to jump on a live today with you because I wanted to go over some strategies to help with anxiety. And sadly, this live is prompted by a little bit of bad news. We found out in the last few days that the government or the FDA is restricting a substance called phenibut. And phenibut is a molecule or a compound that has been used and packaged as an over-the-counter supplement to help with anxiety. And there's a number of different brands that made that product. I personally used a lot of something called Phenotropic from Biotics. And it was a huge helper in my patients with anxiety and also a big helper in the sleep department, which a lot of people have trouble with sleep. So sadly, Phenotropic and other forms of phenibut, other brands and other products are unavailable as of right away, like as of immediately. And so I know I have a few patients who are scrambling and who feel really sad about it because they rely on those things to help them through the day. So I just thought I'd quickly provide a couple of other options just by way of alternative. Because clearly we're not going to be able to get phenibut anymore. I even called my compounding pharmacist because sometimes when they restrict a substance, like back in the day, DMSA, which is a heavy metal chelator, used to be over the counter. And then they restricted it, but we could still get it on prescription through compounding pharmacies. So I made inquiries about this, but there's nothing around. There's no pharmaceutical. There's no real option for this phenibut. And it's really sad because it helped so many people and it had a really good safety record. The FDA put out a letter saying they didn't feel like it fell in the category of a natural supplement, which, you know, I don't know what that means because they don't really regulate those things. But, you know, it's probably because it worked. But anyway, well, that's another story. Anyway, so what we're left with now is like for those people who are using that and benefiting from it, what do you do now? So couple of options would be traditional GABA is still available. Now phenibut is a GABA derivative. I found it did cross the blood-brain barrier a little bit better. So with straight out GABA, you have a couple of options to make it a little bit more effective. One of the products I've used in the past is called 200 milligrams of Zen, and that is GABA and theanine together. And that's a great product. I mean, I find the combination of those two different things that both work to help with anxiety was a really good combination. So 200 milligrams of Zen is a good one. But there's also Source Natural makes a chewable GABA. And even though it's not super high dose, it's not like the best thing on the market out there. However, it is available at health food stores and it's really widely available. And being chewable, it does tend to get into the bloodstream more easily. So it would come in a peppermint and an orange flavor. And I know I had a few people that used to like that as well. So GABA is one thing to keep on the radar. The second thing I would say is 5-HTP. Now 5-HTP is an amino acid and it is a precursor to serotonin. And serotonin is one of your calming neurotransmitters, one of your calming brain chemicals, just like GABA. So it's a different pathway. 5-HTP will get converted to serotonin. I'm not saying that 5-HTP will get converted to GABA. That is not correct, but it gets converted to serotonin. But serotonin and GABA are your two sort of calming neurotransmitters. So there's a little bit of a crossover effect there. Now, I usually find 5-HTP a little bit more beneficial for depression. And if we think of all the antidepressants and the SSRIs, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. So SSRIs typically just make the brain recycle its serotonin so it doesn't get discarded. So 5-HTP is the raw material that your body can take and produce more serotonin. Okay, so that is still calming. It still like helps the brain. And it can take the edge off anxiety and it can also help with depression. I've seen both of those things. So the next thing I would consider is a CBD kind of product. CBD, I feel like has had a bit of a bad reputation because it's still in some ways, in a lot of minds, is still associated with marijuana, still associated with drugs. And you know what? I got to be honest with you. Hi, Michael. Thanks for joining. I've got to be honest with you. I had that bias or that sort of predisposed thought as well. I honestly did. And so it took me a long time to sort of be willing to give CBD a try. And then I started trialing it with some of my patients, and it does help a lot of people. So I feel like within the US, CBD is legal nationwide, because when we're talking about CBD products, we're talking about CBD that comes from hemp. It doesn't come from the marijuana plant, which gets a little confusing because honestly, at the end of the day, they're slightly the same plant, but they've been bred differently for different purposes. But CBD from hemp does not contain significant amounts of THC. I mean, minuscule amounts. I think it's, I don't even know, less than 1%. I mean, negligible amounts. So CBD is a viable option to help with anxiety and help with sleep. I personally feel like the nano formulas or the liposomal formulas, if you guys have been following my blog, you know I like liposomal anything because I feel like it just is so much better for absorption. And so there's a couple of formulations out there. Drop it in the comments if you're listening to the replay of this and if you would need help in where to find that. We're investigating a couple of different sources of CBD, but we're looking at the nanotechnology and the liposomal formulations because I just feel like for absorption, they're so much better. So we have the GABA, we have 5-HTP, we have CBD, and then there are plenty of herbs that are what we call nervines. They help to calm the nervous system and they can help with mood regulation. So, you know, chamomile, passion flower, lemon balm, valerian's probably a little bit more sedating. So we want to calm anxiety without knocking you out and putting you to sleep at 10 o'clock in the morning. So we want to sort of find that balance between herbs that have a calming effect on the nervous system, but aren't necessarily sedating. Now, so for some people who have anxiety and panic attacks and really, you know, high level anxiety, sedating is fine because that sort of gets them down to the level of being able to get through the day. But for a lot of people, we're going to try and find the balance between sort of calming and taking the edge off the anxiety versus putting you in a bit of a stupor or putting you in a sleepy state, which is counterproductive. Kathy's saying the CBD fluid is amazing. Thank you for adding that. So yeah, I mean, I feel like there's a lot of options. I'm very disappointed and I'm sad about the phenotropic because I don't feel like it was a justified restriction. And I don't want to get overly political. That's not really my way, but it's just a shame that that's been taken away, that's been taken out of our toolbox. But now we adapt and we say, okay, what else do we have? We have plenty of other tools. Natural medicine is fantastic in that way. We have lots and lots of resources. So I will write and blog about this in the future. If you have any questions, make sure to drop them in the comments and I'll come back and address those as well. But just wanted to make sure you know that there's options out there. And if you're suffering with anxiety, that there are natural things you can do to help. And we haven't even touched on, you know, the different kinds of therapies that can help. I feel like neurofeedback is massive in being able to help. So lots and lots of options out there for you. So hope this was helpful. Like I said, drop comments or questions in the comments area, and I will see you again really soon. Have a great day.